I assume pupating implies creating or birthing new zombies from its pupa. Yeah, I mean that's why I kind of thought like that might be where the flesh raptors are coming from. I've never seen them before, and the black strands and stuff make me think of the Expanse, which is a thing in there where they kind of, I don't want to give spoilers, but there's like the black threads and then a transformative nature to it. So I thought that was maybe a reference to that. We did find a Smith and Wesson 610 six-shooter chambered for 10 mil rounds, or for the Smith and Wesson Zone 40. Okay, so it's a 10 mil. I did see someone added a crap ton of 10 mil weapons to the game pretty recently, so that's probably a product of that. Always nice when people hit the item groups that matter, so they did put them in a safe, which seems like an appropriate place for a firearm. A lot of people will add things to the game and put them in like one item group, and then, you know, that's it, and then you basically never find it, and you're like, didn't someone add this? I can't believe I've never found this before, blah blah blah, etc. Why are you looting? You're supposed to be finding a new base. Why are you looting? Why am I looting? Stop looting. Brainless zombie. So let's finish clearing out the zombies up here, because I do want to take a closer look at this building. I'm concerned there are many more. Did I kill the soldier zombie? Fat zombie, soldier zombie. We did. We should check his corpse. I don't think we did. Check the body, and we really should. So they are coming out. I didn't see you a minute ago. Hello, tough zombie. I would really like to stop fighting. We did take a lot of hits to our torso. The impale attack from the raptor seems to only target the torso, or else we were really unlucky. A lot of these special attacks do only target the torso. I believe the corrosive zombies, like rifle attack, only targets the torso as well. Okay, so we killed the soldier, probably out here. Actually, just use the V menu. Look for soldier. Nothing, huh? Where was I when I was fighting you? Are you in here? No. I didn't come all the way up here. Where, did we kill him outside, maybe? Okay, pulped soldier zombie. No firearm on him, which is upsetting. That's the main thing I was looking for. No clips, no grenades, no MREs. Pretty unlucky there. Sounds like good advice to me. Yeah, he's a bit much and I'm not a showman. Yeah, me either, man. Like, I just want to play a game and talk to people. That's my whole it's my whole jam, is that I'm good at just talking and never stopping. You know, I can flick from one topic to the next. That's definitely my brand, is the ability to talk, and not really much else. So stepping on the sludge trail is apparently dangerous, otherwise it wouldn't give us this pop-up. So let's not do that. Let's pulp the pupa zombie corpse. Just so weird. Why is this such a weird thing exist? Let's take a look in the house, but let's be cautious. There are obviously a lot of zombies here. In fact, let's peek the exterior. I think if we're gonna settle, because of the state of this house and the fact that this other house got tore up, I think it would be better for us to kind of settle in up here somewhere. What is this? House. Desk chair. Oh, deck chair. Sure. I'm currently seated on a, like, outdoor chair. Lawn chair, personally, because I don't have a good office chair anymore. Okay, so there's really not much in here. Maybe the pupating zombie and all this stuff didn't come from in the house. Maybe they were on the road in front of the house. But we saw these sludge trails and stuff at another house previously, and it was also packed with zombies, so just seems like a possibility to me. Decayed zombie. Where, though? Tab. Okay. Anyway. What was I... Yeah, so the Tony Hawk video did okay on YouTube. Didn't really think it would, but you know, sometimes you gotta try something new. You know, my YouTube's been a little lackluster lately. Did start playing Tony Hawk on the channel, so those videos have been going up. And like I said, I'm debating the Crusader Kings thing. I think Crusader Kings is like just a little too popular right now. I would much rather play it like a year from now when the number of people playing has dwindled and I could maybe rank a little bit better on my YouTube searches and stuff. Just seems like, you know, I would end up making a series and then I don't know, then it wouldn't really amount to anything and I would just be disappointed. So still on the fence about it, but I have been playing the game and I think the more I play it, the more I enjoy it. Initially I had my reservations, but let's. There's a broken window back there, but this is another duplex, so we wouldn't have to worry about. It doesn't matter if this is broken because it's a duplex. I really would like to move further up. I would like this to be our house. I think we're house hunting right now. Very important. You know, if I initially had scheduled a Property Brothers cameo, but they turned it down. I guess they're too good for Twitch. I don't know. So kill these guys here. I hate home buying shows. Like, I don't know. They're very popular. People obviously love them. I think people like looking at other people's houses. So this is the front of the house that was smashed up. Let's move up again. All the way to that house, as long as we don't see more monster density. The black rat struggles to stand. The zombie lunges at the black rat. Where, though? Where's there a rat? Oh, is that... How is that a rat? Go up, scroll up. Oh, it's just extremely tiny. Omnivorous rodent with sheer black fur and a long rough tail, harbinger of pestilence, famine, and mange. It will sometimes swarm over the dead or dying. Yeah, rats aren't great. A little tiny sprite. I thought it was just a black blob on the ground, maybe a little too tiny, but I get that, you know, Ultica goes for that more realistic, like, size comparison. So, couple zombies. We can move up. I'm really nervous about getting our electric vehicle smashed up because it's so delicate. So I think if we could just get their attention. Oh, they murdered the rat into a heap of gore. That's a downer. I think people have a fascination with seeing other people's homes. Like, you know, someone will have an open house and say like, "Oh, we're trying to sell the house." There are tons of people who would just go and wander around your house. They're not going to buy your house. They just show up to wander through and look at your stuff. I think that's super peculiar, and I find that very... Like, I would be very uncomfortable with bringing someone into an open house if I was still living in the property. I don't know why people do it. It seems like a great recipe for like a burglar casing the place, or, you know, God forbid, a murderer or something coming in. And I know that I tend to be a little bit more paranoid about those things than the average person. Look how spacious this house is. What a lovely home you have. A giant sofa. Enormous sofa. They're looky-loos, you know, always people that just want to go in and wander around. Even when I was a kid, like, we used to just, like, my grandparents would take us places and they would just drive around and we would just look at people's houses and be like, "Isn't that a nice house? Oh, it's nice, blah, blah, blah." And I think that's why people watch property shows, like shows about buying a house, or, oh, house hunters, tiny house hunters, property brothers, let's renovate and fix up this old dilapidated whatever. And then I think there's a percentage of people who are like, they want to do that personally. Like, I've always had a fascination with owning property. I believe we've talked about this before, where like one of my long-term goals, I would like to be a landlord. And I know that people, you hear landlord and people are like, "Oh, you want to gouge poor people and take all their money." It's like, no, it's not like that. I just want to have passive income by buying a property, and, you know, I like the idea of kind of being like a homeowner and or leasing out a property, renting a property to other people as a form of more passive income. And there are always people who think like, "Oh, well, that makes you a bad person," and I don't really agree with that. But I think some people watch those shows and they're like, I could do this. I want to do this. I want to make $60,000 by, you know, by grabbing oh, it was foreclosed on. It's only worth $6,000, and then we renovate it for 3 months, and now it's a $70,000 profit. And it's like, no, most of the time, it doesn't work that way. They're just, you know, they handpick it, and they have decades of experience on the show, so can't really go by that, you know. But I know a lot of people who are really fascinated by those shows, and I think reality television itself is something that, because I would consider that reality television. Most people think of like trashy shows like 90 Day Fiance and like Married at First Sight, like those, yes, and new Real Housewives, like yes, those are reality shows as well. But I do think that property shows constitute reality shows, so I think people just are obsessed with that kind of crap. I don't really get it. If you asked me, if you said, "Hey, Murder, you know, you have an hour to spare today. What do you want to do? How you know, you have an hour, just take it for yourself, relax. What do you put on to watch to relax?" My answer is 100% is YouTube every time. That's my unwinding, you know. We talked about it in therapy last week. She was trying, my therapist was trying to get me to acknowledge that maybe I should take a break from things and step away a little bit. And she was asking me like, well, how do you release stress? How do you calm down? How do you unwind after a long day, whatever? And my answer is like, my peace. You know, some people work out, some people play video games, some people do sports, all that crap. For me, I like to sit back in my chair, watch a YouTube video, and do whatever else I'm doing. So sometimes that's, you know, uploading a video, editing a video, writing copy for a video. You know, my other hobbies, sometimes I'll play a game, sometimes I'll write something, sometimes I just want to sing. But like, my answer is 100% of the time, I'm going to throw on a YouTube video. I don't even like watching like movies and TV that much. I like YouTube. There's such a vast variety of content available, and you can always find something to fit your mood, you know. I try watching movies, but like, I don't enjoy movies as much as I used to. This fridge out of here as well. So like, sometimes I get the urge to watch a movie, and I'm like, I don't really want to watch a movie, so I just go watch the CinemaSins covering the movie, you know. Cannot grab the cupboard. Thought you were a counter. That's okay. We can just pull the table from the living room. So this is going to be our base. That's why I'm kind of dressing things up. Grab this table out of here. Oh, I love that the furniture reorients its tile based on where the table is. So like, if I put a table in front of the chair, it orients the chair in that direction. That's super awesome. I think that's really cool. That's a really great, I assume that's a feature of... No, we've had rotating sprites before, right? Like, that's probably not exclusive to Altica. Still pretty freaking cool, though. Saw a rat got driven over by a car one time. It was like a ketchup bottle. Well, that's horrifying. Your deck chair doesn't creak, though. Yeah, that's why I switched to the lawn chair, because my office chair, which is now just sort of where I put my blanket after I wake up and my random clothing and stuff. Like, there's my hoodie and my winter jacket are all in that chair. That's why I swapped to the lawn chair. Too creaky. They always end up creaking. I like to lean back in my chair, and it ends up wearing out the... Like, because they're cheap, so it's like metal fastened to a plastic thing, and like, after a while the plastic wears out and the bolt starts to slip and it creaks really loud. You write too much. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I also write not nearly as much as I probably should, but it's a good thing. I view that as a positive hobby. Here's a conversation starter. Would you rather hide out? Where would you hide out during a zombie apocalypse? I'd probably go for a boat. And then Jack said a hospital. Don't go to the hospital, Jack. That's where all the dead people will be. Highly recommend against that. I like the idea of a boat, but I myself cannot swim and am pretty fearful of the water, just because of weird childhood and things. It's like, I don't do very well with the water, and the fact that I can't swim makes it really likely that I'm at some point going to just end up drowning, because the boat will capsize, catch fire, whatever, and I won't be able to handle it. However, I will say that I'm fascinated with the idea of going to a boat. There is a book series. It's called what's that book called? The first one is it? I can't think of the name of the series. It's like Black Tide Rising or something like that. Basically, follows a father, a mother, and their two daughters as they zombie apocalypse and they retreat to their boats, and then the entire series is basically them surviving the zombie apocalypse on boats. The books themselves are really terrible, in my opinion. They have a lot of no, it's Beneath a Graveyard Sky, something like that. I can't think of it. You can just Google zombie apocalypse boats. I'm sure it pops up. And it's like it's really bad. Like there's a lot of creepy stuff where the two daughters get in some creepy situations with older guys, and it's very uncomfortable and cringy. And it made me think like maybe the author has some interests that I don't like. But aside from that, I think the idea conceptually of like retreating to the ocean and living on boats makes a lot of sense from a zombie apocalypse perspective, because obviously zombies don't swim. Let us remove all tiles, make these all unsorted. If I do more than one at a time, can I still bind it to vehicle parts? No. Okay. We have to do this one at a time. We'll mark all of this as unsorted, and then we'll just sort it into the house. That way we don't have to manually carry everything. We could all, if this doesn't work for some reason, we can just dump it all on the ground and make one unsorted pile, but for now we'll do this. And like conceptually, it makes a lot of sense. Zombies, because they don't breathe. In that particular book, I don't think they're like dead, but like classic zombies do not breathe, right? So if they don't breathe, they're not buoyant. So they would just sink to the bottom of the ocean. So they can't even float up to your boat. They can't do any of that stuff because they have no air in their lungs. Humans are only, to my understanding, humans are only really buoyant if you have air in your lungs at the time. And it's like, and that's like why drowning versus being dumped after death, it affects whether you float or not. I don't know. But so they most likely wouldn't float. So it makes a lot of sense because they would just try to get you and they would just sink, and that would be the end of it. So I think like conceptually, it's a pretty interesting idea. I don't know if for me it would work. So my answer, where would I hide during the zombie apocalypse? I think like being in a bunker, if you had that opportunity, is the best place to go. If you could find like a well-stocked shelter of some sort. Obviously that's beyond the reach of most people. So I think it's just about getting into the country as far away from population centers as you can think, and then finding a place up there and being as self-sufficient as possible. There are plenty of places in like Montana or wherever where there just aren't people, and the distance a zombie would have to travel just to find you, the likelihood of them finding you, is pretty small. So it just makes sense to me that you go as rural as possible, and then based on your, depending on what kind of zombies they are, if they're still people who are like rage zombies, the cold wouldn't affect them. But if they're like undead kind of classic zombies, I do think the cold has something. So probably head up to Canada and live in the woods somewhere would be my answer, I guess. There are morgues and hospitals. Yeah, that's the thing. They also have big fire doors, food and meds, gas, and a lot of good stuff. So it's safe-ish. Supply-wise, it's probably pretty good, but you're going to need to put up a fight. Yeah, I just think because when people are injured, they go to the hospital. It just seems very likely to me that you would have very frequent interactions with the infected. I do think there would be a lot of supplies there, but I also think that that is not, kind of like Cataclysm. I don't think it's in your best interest to go to the hospital basically under any circumstance, because I imagine they will be death traps. Just like over time, if they set up shelters and like food distribution, that kind of stuff, going there is inherently dangerous because there will be people there. And the more people there are, the more likely you are to have an interaction with an infected person. So I don't think I would do that personally. I think, yeah, I gotta stick with just the backwoods in a cold location would be my guess. I think. I mean, and and they would have a lot of food and stuff. Like that's something I brought up about the current hospital, the old hospital layout in Cataclysm is like they would have a lot of food, like for the cafeteria, that all the patients, all that food that has to be processed in a hospital, there would be generator backups, there would be that kind of stuff, and that is pretty valuable. That is pretty valuable. Grab all this and dump it on our unsorted pile. I really do think like just wilderness is the way to go, though. Most of my apocalyptic writing, their goal is to get somewhere very isolated, just because it makes the most sense to me to be isolated. Because like people get in their heads too, like if you asked a random person if they would survive the zombie apocalypse, they would probably say yes, which I think is silly because no, you wouldn't. The majority of people will die in a situation like that, assuming it gets out of control and the government can't kind of close it down. No, no curtains, huh? Close the window with closed curtains. Yeah, but what about this one? Window without curtains. I really wish they would fix this where they have curtains on. Like, literally, these are two windows that I'm assuming are supposed to represent one big window, but only one of them has curtains. That really bothers me. So we can't really block off vision in the front of this building, which is going to be a little bit of an issue. Thankfully, the bedrooms will be on the second floor, so we'll be insulated that way. It'll be pretty unlikely that they'll follow us all the way upstairs and get to us while we're sleeping. Still have a front door and everything. Can we close this? Great. Okay, let's make some piles, I guess. I'm a little concerned we're not going to be able to pull everything in from the vehicle. Let's make some piles, food and drink and stuff. Set up some food piles, perishable food piles. Drinks were being processed previously as food. Hopefully that has been fixed. But we'll see what happens. Perishable drink as well. Make sure those are on the same pile. They are. Go ahead and give me like guns and stuff. We put these in a corner because we don't need them to be near our crafting. Guns, magazines, and ammunition. And we'll put gun mods up there as well. We maybe should have made those separate piles, but that's okay. We can do that in the future if we're so inclined. Make a weapons pile as well. Okay, and clothing as well. All this stuff, again, we don't need this to be near our class or our crafting area. We can just sort of do that. We're going to need a book pile as well. We want these to be near the crafting. We can make a spare parts pile just for miscellaneous crafting garbage. Okay, and we need a firewood pile. Sorry, I know this is boring. I know people don't like watching same things over and over. And then we want a firewood source, which we do through this menu now, right? Source firewood, yes. And that should be the majority of our items, so let's sort. And if we see our character go outside, that will indicate that we're sorting from the vehicle as well. Which I don't know if we're doing. True, so a gun shop first, then go to the hospital. You're probably right. I would get eaten kind of fast.